Hey, Buff Nation, voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson here. Coming up this week in the Buffalo Stampede, we're going to wrap up the Buffs Pac-12 tournament in Las Vegas, the victory over Oregon, the loss to Arizona, and we connect with a couple of parents of Buffaloes, Evan Batty's mom and Jabari Walker's dad, all this week on the Buffalo Stampede.
The Buffs defense just blew that one. Picked up and Colorado's moving in another direction. Touchdown! Got the pylon. Touchdown. Bends off the defense with their body. Elevate and slam with the right hand. Attaboy Lolo. It's a winner for the Buffs. Ball is right in front. A couple of shot fakes to Chief Barry.
Giving out top to Simpson. Tries his way to the paint on his way to the hoop. Whoa! The tomahawk with the right hand! Oh! There is no doubt about that one right there! KJ and the parting of the duck scene. He hammered with the right hand.
Wow, that was a throwdown.
Well, that was certainly an electrifying moment as the Colorado Buffaloes open up Pac-12 tournament play here in Las Vegas. KJ Simpson down the lane for the hammer. Hi, everybody. Voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. Scott Wilkie, my broadcast partner, joining us. Colorado with a quarterfinal win over the Oregon Ducks. Ultimately, we'll talk about it later in the show, they lose in the semifinals. But Scott, let's start talking about that game against Oregon. Pretty impressive performance by the Buffaloes against the Ducks.
Yeah, good defense throughout the game, good rebounding game. Kind of typical Colorado basketball under Tad Boyle. Control the boards, play good defense, and win that way.
The defense was outstanding. They held Oregon under 40%, and they always have that number they shoot for, +8 rebounding. They beat that. When Colorado does that, by the way, they're nearly undefeated in 12 years of Tad Boyle. But the bigs were the story in this one. Buff didn't shoot the ball all that well, but double-doubles and major double-doubles for Evan Batty and Jabari Walker.
Career high in rebounds for both guys on one night, and Evan Batty hasn't had a lot of those in career. He's not a high rebound guy, but he was yesterday.
Yeah, really after the ball. The thing about rebounding with Jabari Walker, you and I've talked a lot about him as a rebounder. We've had some great ones during the last, 15, 18 years for the Colorado Buffaloes. You've had Andre Robertson, you have Tyler Bay. He might be as good as any of them, the way he rebounds. The strength in his hands is really what sets him apart.
Yeah, he's a bigger guy than those other guys. First of all, he's 6'9", 6'10", longer, just as athletic, and the defensive boards, he is elite rebounder on that end of the floor.
Yeah, the thing about it, you and I, and this thing that Scott brought up to me one time, he said, when there's a loose ball, and it's a 50-50 ball between a couple of guys, rarely does he not come up with it.
Yeah, he's got great hands. If he gets his hands on it, generally it's his ball. And I look for him to be an elite rebounder at the next level, too. They say that's one of the best transferable skills.
Yeah, without question. Buffaloes were impressive against the Oregon Ducks, though. The way Evan Batty's been playing down a stretch of this season, it's been kind of fun to watch. I mean, for a guy that's beloved by Buff Nation out there, he's playing his best basketball here in the last month of his career.
Yeah, it just seems like he's having so much fun here as he finishes up his career. Great shooter, and he wasn't that way when he got to Colorado.
Yeah, he has turned out to be an amazing shooter. In fact, led the Pac-12 in three-point shooting this season. So the Buffaloes get a victory over the Oregon Ducks in the quarterfinal round. Afterward, we heard from head coach Tad Boyle. The circles, high on the right side of KJ. Play clock's at 11. KJ driving down the paint, skip with on hand, and it's up and good. A knifing play that time by KJ Simpson.
We beat a really good program. Just won a lot of games, and they're very, very well coached. They got great toughness about them, and we knew this wasn't going to be easy, and it wasn't. I'm so proud of our guys because, we really struggled offensively out of the chute. And at times before, those of you who followed our team, sometimes that's gotten, in the past, that's kind of gotten into our bloodstream, and it's affected us on the other end of the court. But I thought defensively in that first half, to hold them to 30 points and not have your best offense, we found a way to break it open and beat a good team, and now we live to see another day. I can't sit here and pound the table for Colorado because we lost to Southern Illinois. We had 10 losses, but we have a young team. And if you look at the Colorado team today relative to where we were in November or December, if you don't think we're one of the top 68 teams in the country, you're sorely mistaken.
There's the head coach Tad Boyle after the Buffaloes' quarterfinal victory over the Oregon Ducks. We continue with Buffs great, my broadcast partner Scott Wilkie from the Colorado Basketball Network. Turnovers had been an issue for Colorado all season long. In fact, towards the middle of the campaign, they had a bad stretch. Scott, they've really cleaned that up here down the stretch. Only had 8 turnovers against the Ducks.
Yeah, 2 of the last 3 games under 10 turnovers. And when they do that, they're a much better team offensively, and the guard play has gotten better with that throughout the season.
Yeah, now here's the caveat in terms of the guard play, the young guys. First off, against Oregon. KJ Simpson went out and had a really nice ball game. I mean, literally double-digit points and 4 or 5 rebounds, 4 or 5 assists. Really played well. We saw the highlight off the top. He's had those moments this season.
Yeah, he just hasn't been consistent. And we've seen him have really explosive plays like the dunk down the middle, and his quickness is not unmatched on the floor, but not always consistent from game to game.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that a little bit later in the show for the Arizona game. That was not there. He's got to learn. This is a period now for him to start growing up. There's still basketball left to play for the Buffaloes in the postseason, but this offseason is going to be huge for his growth, isn't it?
Yeah, being more consistent as a shooter, more consistent as a ball handler, and being able to run a team from start the season to the end.
And I think really we're talking about, and we're not picking on KJ right now, it's really going to be for Julian Hammond, who's become a starter late in the season for Keyshawn Bartholomew. That backcourt, I think you can throw Nick Clifford in there, even though he's not a point guard. That backcourt's got to grow up for next season.
Yeah. Guard play runs college basketball. Let's be honest. I don't care how good your bigs are. If you don't get good guard play, it's going to be tough playing top teams.
But think about this for a second for Colorado. Here they get the victory in the quarterfinals over Oregon. Tad Boyle, since 2012, only one time has not won a game in the tournament. What I mean by that, they get here, they win games under Tad Boyle.
Yeah, I think that's a testament to how his teams get better and generally are playing some of their best basketball late in the season.
Yeah. Do you think it's safe to say Colorado's playing as well right now as it has all year long?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no doubt about it. You know, against better teams, they've been playing better throughout the season.
Yeah, the Buffaloes get the quarterfinal victory by double digits over the Oregon Ducks. Move on to the semifinals. We'll talk about that matchup with Arizona. The number we'll see in the tournament coming up later in the show. Up next, though, everyone loves Evan Batty. You know where Evan Batty came from. Everyone loves his mom, Rosalind. She's going to join us on the show next. Bigs up a pick to the right side. On the roll, Evan Batty to paint, throws up the money with the right hand. Clear out, backs his way down, spins, head fake, spins back, goes back to his left, fades, fires. Oh, what a shot by Evan Batty! He drives in up top, Evan Batty. Fakes, drives against Coloco down the paint, sweeping hook shot up the window is up and good. And contact the block. Hammond driving down the paint, kick out right side. Evan wide open, fires a three. Right between the eyes, from downtown. He's going to go down as one of the favorite Buffaloes of all time. Evan Batty's having a great late part of his senior season. Mom's here, by the way, joining us, the Buffalo Stampede. Roz Lewis here for a couple of minutes. How much fun has this been for you watching your son, the way his career is wrapping up?
This has been so much fun. The CU family, the school, the fans have all embraced us, and it's so important because he had a little bit of trials, but you made us feel loved and welcomed. I told the Buff Zone outside, never was there a better place for Evan than right here at CU.
And you know, the thing about it was, and everyone knows Evan's story by now, I mean, there was a tough end to his high school career, didn't get to play. Then he got to college and couldn't play his freshman season. It was not an easy transition to become a Buffalo.
It was not an easy transition, but you know, I made sure that he never really got down. I said, look, I was telling some folks outside, when he came back from the medical issue, you sitting here playing video games? No. We're going back to Colorado. We're going to figure this out because you are not going to sit on my couch and play video games. So you can do that. You can do schoolwork. And they really embraced us. Mindy, the coaches, the staff, all embraced us. Love it.
When you think about the way he's matured as a young man, Roz, I always say in my role, I get to see when they come in, you know, and they're 16, 17, 18-year-old boys, and they walk out as 21, 22-year-old men.
Yeah.
He has grown into a grown man, hasn't he?
Yeah. I cannot be more proud of the man he has become. And you know, this year has been challenging for him because he is the senior leader, a young team, but he embraced that. He loves them. He wants them to see and do what he knows and learns. So I am so proud of him being that senior leader. And I'm so proud of the man he is. I cannot believe, I'm so lucky. I am so grateful.
Now, I'd ask this, but I'm not going to insult you. I know where his positive attitude came from. Has he always been that way as a boy?
He has always been that way. I remember when he was in 3rd grade, and you know, he was a rambunctious little kid, and the teachers wanted to sit him down. I said, look, no. He came in this class a happy-lucky-go kid. He's going to leave a happy-lucky-go kid. Absolutely.
Well, there's a reason we love him. I think you can figure out why as well. By the way, here in Vegas, during the tournament, we caught up with some great Buff alums outside.
So I'm here at the Buffs Bash pregame. I've always been to these. Every time I'm down here, I try to make the Buffs pre-bash in Vegas and anywhere they have them around the Pac-12. I was a C Club board member for 18 years. I wanted to give something back to the organization. Obviously, as a former athlete, I think they're really important. But all alumni and C Club activities just make people feel like they're more involved. They like being a part of things. And things like this get people to rally and get them fired up for the competition.
I'm here to support the Buffs. My blood still bleeds black and gold and always will. The C Club keeps us connected to our lifeblood, which is the Buffs. But the other thing is to continue to provide support for the current athletes and the current staff. But it's events like this where you can reconnect with Buffs and still support the program. That's what brings us out to something like this.
Go Buffs! You know, having been a former Buff, you gotta come out and support the team. I love what Coach Boyle's doing. These kids are a special group. Should all be here and be able to come hang out with a bunch of Buffs before the game. The Alumni C Club to me is something that I've been a supporter for years. I'm an eternal member now. Former athletes should be able to gather, see each other. But at the end of the day, it's about camaraderie. It's about former athletes still supporting the program, and you can't ask for anything more when we get together. That's the best part.
Going to catch up with some Buffs alums. We continue with Evan Batty's mother, Roz Lewis, here for a couple of minutes talking about Evan and his transition. You know, the great Ryan Miller, who's a great offensive lineman for the Colorado Buffaloes, once told me he was 6'8", he was 300 and some pounds. He said, I was big when I was little. Was Evan always a big young man?
He was always a big young man. I used to travel a lot and travel with the kids, and they would always question me. Is he really under 2 so he can sit on your lap? Yes, he's under 2. He can sit on my lap. Always. He was always the biggest kid in his group and taking care of, looking out for the little ones.
That's awesome. Now, as big as he is, I talked to him about this one time. I said, you ever think about playing football? Is he ever a football guy or not?
I'm not a football person, and so I couldn't really put him there. But I have heard a lot of people say, we might not see him playing ball, we might see him playing tight end somewhere.
I can see that. I did ask him if he gained your, inherited your dancing ability, because, you become famous, on Buffstation back home.
He absolutely. So when he was younger, I used to take him with me salsa dancing.
Yeah.
He loves to dance, and I love nothing more than to see a big man light on his feet dancing, and he is that.
Well, if we had more time, I'd dance with her right now, to be honest. Speaking of big man lighting their feet. Are you just relishing every moment down the stretch here?
Every moment. It is just so special. When we were at Colorado for this game with Arizona, I just was looking around and just being so grateful. And now it's the same way.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a transition time for us, but it's been a wonderful ride with a great set of people.
Well, what are you going to do? We hope this goes on, by the way, for a few more weeks. What are you going to do when he's not playing anymore?
I don't know. My friends ask me, so what are you going to do now? I don't know. I have to figure it out.
It's fun. There's so much great atmosphere. The Buff family's here. Roz is here. Let's get a win.
Let's get a win.
All right, Roz
Go
Lewis.
Buffs.
Evan Batty's mom joining us here in the Stampede. We come back. We're going to talk with Jabari Walker's father, Samaki Walker. Up next. Drives down the paint, leans in, throws it up, shot, rejected. Down the paint goes Jabari, kick out right side. O'Brien drives in the paint, shovels off. Jabari down the lane for the jam. Jabari Walker drives against Tubelis on his way to the lane, leans in, throws it out the window, shot is up and good. High jump pass to KJ in the corner. Walker pulls up, 3-ball is on the way, right between the eyes from downtown. And there's Jabari Walker, who's having a great sophomore season for the Colorado Buffaloes back in the Stampede. Voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson, the proud father, Samaki Walker, joining us here for a couple of minutes at T-Mobile Arena. It's got to be fun for you watching the way your son is growing up here in the sophomore season.
Yeah, under Tab Boyle's tutelage, the young man's beginning to figure some things out.
Yeah.
It's awesome watching.
When did you know that he had, obviously he's got the genes coming from you. When did you know that he had the chance to be an upper level player?
Well, I think, as a father, I've seen the ability there, but you never know how the mindset is developed. As you know, the mindset is the engine behind everything. I think coming in as a freshman this year, last year there were some doubts, with him.
Yeah.
Was he ready for college basketball? And even thought about redshirting. But we've seen what happened, speed up a couple years later. Jabari's beginning to figure some things out and looking like he's going to be a solid player down the road.
Where's he growing most in your eyes? When you watch him play right now, how has he matured as a player?
I think mentally. A lot of people don't understand what these kids endure on a daily level, coming to the college level, and trying to please, the fan base and things of that nature. And I think he's learned how to tap into himself. I've always tried to get him to go into find himself spiritually, and I think he's beginning to find out who he is, identity as an individual, which is affecting everything else.
You know, that's the toughest thing a lot of times for these players. You know, he's physically gifted.
Yes.
But so is everybody else out there in the court, right?
Absolutely.
And so you got to learn that this is where it all starts, right?
Absolutely, 100%. You know, as you see amongst all these players, you know, even as these players, everybody wants to go to the next level. You know, all physically gifted. But like we said, the mind is the engine. And I try to get Jabari to think outside of the box as it pertains to basketball and try to think mentally.
Now the Buffs got a nice win in the quarterfinals over Oregon. We had our cameras in the locker room after the victory over the Ducks.
This time of year, it's never easy. I'm really proud of you because the way we started that game, we were missing shots and wide open looks, but we just kept coming at it. You didn't let it get you down. And we really strung some stops together in that first half. We showed a lot of heart, a lot of grit, a lot of toughness. And guys, it's not easy this time of year. It's not. You know, if you're playing a game, okay, in the middle of March, you're playing against somebody damn good. Okay, take care of your bodies because it's going to be a war tomorrow, and we got to come ready to fight. And I know we will. Guys, you guys have come so far.
Yes.
I'm extremely proud of every single one of you. But our work is not done. We came here to win one game. Now we're here to win another game. And me on three. 1, 2, 3.
Great celebration after the Buffs knocked out the Ducks. We continue with Samaki Walker, Jabari Walker's father. You know, when I watch him play, the one thing we're talking about him growing mentally, you see him the last maybe month of the season. You know, he used to penetrate kind of low and then he gets stuck down there. Now he's starting to see the court, isn't he? He's a much better passer than I thought he was ever going to be this young.
Absolutely. I think what these kids think when they first come in, they think it's about scoring.
Yeah.
And then I think, you know, the coaches dread having to break these guys down. It takes them a couple years to get these guys to learn that facilitating is where it's at.
Yeah.
Once you become a threat, it's an honor to get a double team. But once you become a threat, you got to be able to move the ball. And I think he's learning that, and it's making the players around him better.
You know, everyone knows his dad played a long time in the NBA, was a great player. How much do you compare him to you, or do you try to stay away from doing that?
You know what? You can.
Yeah.
And I do it, and I do it in a responsible way.
Okay.
You know, and I tell Jabari, you know, I want him, you know, our game is obviously different and more physical. And my thing is to encourage him. Obviously, he's going to be a much better player than me down the road, and I hope so. But I encourage him to be physical and understand that physicality impacts the game. As you said down there, having the problem staying low, that's one of the things we talk about.
So it's more important to be the dad than the coach.
Absolutely.
Is that right?
Got to be dad.
Yeah. You know what the obvious question is for him. Everyone's talking about going to the NBA, going to the NBA. You talk to him about that?
You know what? It's hard not to talk about.
Yeah.
But I got to leave it up to Jabari. And I tell Jabari, listen, if you feel you're ready, it's just like making the decision to college. You know, if you feel like you're ready, make the move. If not, don't do it. But I'm going to give him my best advice.
Well, you've done a great job.
Thank you.
Because we love having him as a Buffalo.
Love it. He loves being here as well.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Samaki Walker, Jabari's dad, here in Las Vegas for the Pac-12 Conference Tournament coming up. We're talking more basketball than Stampede. Dribbles foul line, hook pass left side. Walker pulls up, three ball is on the way. Oh, right between the eyes from downtown. And down the left side of the lane. Gives top of the key. Jabari Walker pulls up, three ball is on the way. Right between the eyes. Tries his way to paint. Kick out left side, wide open. Hammond for three. Right between the eyes from downtown. Holy cow, they can't miss. Well, in the semifinals of the Pac-12 Conference Tournament, it was raining threes. The Buffaloes nearly set a school record for threes in a game. They had 16, went 16 of 32 from downtown in that ball game. End up falling, though, by 10 points to the Arizona Wildcats, the number one seed in the tournament. Season comes to an end so far at 21-11. Scott Wilkie, voice of the Buffs. Mark Johnson back here on the Buffalo Stampede. Great energy for Colorado early in this game, though. They matched Arizona early.
Yeah, and that's something I was really concerned about. I thought Arizona would come out with a little chip on their shoulder after having lost that game in Boulder. And Jabari Walker was a big part of that early in the game. He was hitting all of his threes, 5 for 5 in the first half.
Yeah, Jabari was outstanding. Yeah, well, Scott's talking about it. Arizona's only lost 3 games this season. They lost at Tennessee, at UCLA, and at Colorado. That was 2 weeks ago. So you had a motivated Arizona basketball team in this ball game. The threes were falling for Colorado. That kept them in it. But there were some cracks in the first half that got you a little worried, weren't there?
Yeah, well, Arizona, their defense is long, it's athletic, and Colorado struggled on the two-point shots. By the end of the game, only 8 out of 30 on two-point baskets. 16 threes, but you got to be able to hit some mid-range and get shots inside as well.
What really affected Colorado in this ball game, as they're hitting the threes, and that was covering up a lot of the mistakes, the size. Balo, Coloco inside. Those big bodies were really creating some problems. The bigs for Colorado got in foul trouble.
Yeah, they ran a lot of high-low situations where either Coloco or Balo were up high and the other guy down low in a one-on-one situation. They're so big and spread out, it's really tough to guard those guys one-on-one down there.
Yeah, on the flip side then, so when the Buffs were on defense in this ball game, they had trouble dealing with the size on the offense, so that goes back to the two-point shooting Scotty was talking about. You get in the paint, and even when you're not guarded by one of them, you're thinking about where's the big guy coming from to get the block, right?
Yeah, there was a situation in the second half where Nick Clifford penetrated and Coloco came like this. Batty was right behind him wide open. He could not get the ball past Coloco.
Yeah.
Coloco takes up the whole lane.
A lot of size in there for Arizona that really affected the Colorado Buffaloes as they end up falling by 10 in the semifinals to #1 seed Arizona. Afterward, we heard from head coach Tad Boyle. A little bit of attacking forecourt left. Bounce pass left the lane to Silva. Gives inside Jabari Walker. Head fake goes up strong through contact that time.
Really proud of our guys for the way we fought, the way we competed, but it wasn't enough to overcome, a really good Arizona team. They're well coached. They're terrific. So I don't want to take anything away from them, but I'm really proud of our players for their fight, their toughness, their competitiveness, and really what this team has done in terms of the growth from November and December. We had a guy like Jabari, last year as a role player, kind of a pick and pop four-man, and to see his transformation this year and to see what Evan Batty has done with his game and his leadership this year, and all of our young guys growing and developing. Couldn't be more proud of a group of young men than I am these guys. And I love them. Our season's not over, don't believe. Hopefully have that opportunity, and we're going to make the most of it and finish this thing strong, because this group is a special group, and I want to coach them as long as I can.
There was head coach Tad Boyle after the Buffaloes fall in the Pac-12 Conference Tournament semifinals here in Las Vegas. Scott Wilkie, voice of the Buffs, as we continue. Hey, by the way, at halftime of that game, they announced the class, the Pac-12 Hall of Honor inductees for 2022. Great athletes from all over the Pac-12. And for the Buffaloes, Jenny Simpson, the outstanding runner and Olympian.
One of the most decorated athletes for CU ever.
Yeah.
Olympian, Pac-12. I mean, she won so many things in her career.
All right. You and her in a foot race. How long did you stay with her?
Not even 1 second.
Maybe 100 yards, maybe, if we're lucky. I don't know. Let's get back to the ball game now. Colorado falls by 10 in the semifinals to the Arizona Wildcats. We talked in the first segment about young guards being inconsistent. KJ was very good against Oregon. Not so much against Arizona.
Yeah, really struggled today. 1 for 10 shooting, and the one basket was kind of a basket didn't count or didn't matter late in the game. And 5 turnovers. Really struggled against Arizona's size and length.
The size and length we talked about with the bigs inside for Arizona affected this ball game. Colorado could not get to the foul line as a result of that. Arizona did and hit 96% of the free throws. The Buffs like to get to the foul line 18, 19, 20 times a game. Couldn't get there in this ball game. That was a huge effect on the contest.
Only 2 free throw attempts in the first half. Ended up with 10, I believe, something like that. So from that respect, we lost that battle getting to the foul line.
So now the Buffaloes wait. Let's be honest about it. They're on the outside looking in for the NCAA. If they did get selected in an at-large bid, it would be an extreme surprise to everybody. Chances are we're talking about an NIT. But this is an opportunity for Colorado to play some more basketball for a young basketball team.
Yeah, and you're not going to meet a team like Arizona. There's not going to be no Arizonas in the NIT if that's where they end up. So teams that you can play with and beat are a great example.
So the Colorado Buffaloes regular season and conference tournament season comes to an end with a 10-point loss to Arizona, 21-10 on the season. Another 21 win for Tad Boyle and company. They wait now. We assume it's going to be the NIT. Up next for the Colorado Buffaloes as we put a wrap on the Buffalo Stampede from partner Scott Wilkie. I'm voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you next time.